You win. Perfect.
There's something so fascinating about fighting games. It's just you and your character versus someone else, locked in a one-on-one battle where anything can happen. You trade blows, you duke it out, until one of you finally comes out on top. And what makes it even better are the moments. The hype moments that make crowds go wild. And in the competitive scene, these moments feel electric. But let's be honest, fighting games can feel intimidating. You see those flashy combos, perfect parries, the crazy mix-ups, and you think, there's no way I could ever pull that off. I used to feel the same way. I've been playing fighting games ever since I was a kid, but I didn't really understand them. But once I got past a certain wall, I found something truly special. So, why do I love fighting games? And why should you give them a shot? I first picked up a fighting game when I was a kid. It was either Tekken 3 or Mortal Kombat 4 on the PlayStation 1. I can't remember exactly which one came first, but those were my introductions to the genre. In Tekken 3, I naturally gravitated towards Hwoarang. He's got this cool Taekwondo gi, Taekwondo fighting style. He also had one of the coolest grab animations, which I used to call combinations at the time. Back then, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just mashing buttons, watching cool moves come out. It was fun. It looked cool. And then I kept playing. I challenged my friends to some matches, and none of us seriously played fighting games, but I like to think I was a bit above their league. And then I'd go all out, and I felt like I was unstoppable. Because even back then, let's say around maybe when Tekken 6 came out, that's when I started creating my own combo routes for some of the characters that I use. So whenever I get to pull those off in a match, it felt amazing. Like I was doing something no one else could pull off. So let's fast forward to Tekken 7. I've been playing Tekken for years by that point, but to be clear, I wasn't only into fighting games. I played all kinds of stuff. When Tekken Tag 2 came out, I really wasn't able to play it properly. I didn't have a console at the time, so I only got to play it in arcades whenever I was lucky enough to visit one. Same deal when Tekken 7 dropped. I actually stuck with Tekken 6 for a while, and it wasn't until 2019 that I finally got the chance to dive into the game. So when I finally got Tekken 7, I kept playing, doing my usual thing, creating my own combo routes for the characters that I use, and I kept playing with my brothers and mostly CPUs. And even then, I thought I was pretty good for a casual player. And then I played my first online match. I still remember it vividly. I was at my dad's place, and the internet connection there was way better than what we had at home at the time. So after labbing a few combos in practice mode, I jumped straight online. I got matched pretty quickly. I picked Lars, my go-to at the time, and my opponent was using Kazuya. I was really nervous, but also excited. My adrenaline was pumping. I mean, this was my first real online match. Up to this point, I'd only ever played against CPUs, so I had no idea what to expect. I just glanced at their rank and hoped I could hold my own. And then I got completely steamrolled. Yep, 12-1 or something like that. That guy absolutely cooked me. But here's the thing. After every round, I felt myself adapting. Every round I lose, I think lit a fire in me. And as the matches went on, I started noticing things, patterns. How he'd go for a specific string after a certain situation, how he'd patiently wait for me to whiff and then punish. Eventually, I got a game off him. I didn't quit or call it a day after that win. I kept going. I wanted to learn. Sure, I still lost the next few matches, but that one win, it meant something. It showed me that I could adapt, that I could improve. See, the thing about fighting games is that you're both constantly adapting. You adapt to your opponent's behavior, and your opponent will adapt to you, adapting to them. It's this constant back and forth, like a fast-paced duel where both of you are trying to figure each other out in real time. You try something, they counter it. So, you switch it up, and then they switch it up on you. It keeps going like that until one of you finally breaks through. It's intense, but also kind of addicting. And I think after that match, that was the moment I realized I don't just want to play fighting games, I want to learn them. So let's jump to 2020. I think this was the year that I really started my fighting game journey. I was so invested that I even got my first fight stick, and then I got another one, and then I got a couple more. But let me say this, you absolutely don't need a fight stick to get into fighting games. A lot of people assume that owning one automatically makes you some kind of a pro. That's just not true. There are plenty of top players out there who play on pad and absolutely dominate the scene. And it really just comes down to personal preference. You can start with whatever controller you have. And if you ever decide to get a fight stick down the line and you've got the budget for it, and by all means, just know that if you're already used to a pad, switching to a fight stick will take some time to retrain your muscle memory. Anyway, this was also the time that I really started diving into the deeper mechanics of fighting games. I was studying frame data, learning about mix-ups, playing neutral, hit confirm, option select, all that. If none of that makes sense to you right now, don't worry. There's this site called glossary.infill.net. They break down all these terms in a way that's very easy to understand, even as a newcomer. It's honestly one of the best resources out there. I'll link it in the description below. Learning all these new fighting game terminologies was a bit overwhelming at first, but it was also exciting. Every small improvement I was able to apply to my gameplay felt huge, and every wins started to feel more meaningful. It's like playing rock, paper, scissors, but with far more options and decision making. And every decision you make can lead to a completely different outcome. Every move you make can set off a chain reaction that leads to something unexpected. In fighting games, you really don't rely on an XP bar or stat boosts to get better. The character you use will always stay the same, but you, the player, you're the one leveling up every time you play. There's no in-game system telling you that you've improved. Instead, you feel it. Over time, you will start to react faster, punish smarter, and your decision making evolves. And that's what makes the progress feel so real. Over time, I started exploring other fighting games. I wanted to dive into titles with a more 2D fighting game feel. At this point, I also felt the need to take a break from Tekken and try something new. So as I grew more confident in my skills and started exploring more fighting games, it became clear that there was a whole other level to this experience. I'm talking about the FGC, the fighting game community. So eventually, I stepped out of online matches and into the real world. I went to my first local tournament. I remember joining this tournament and I was first or second to arrive at the venue just because I was so excited. It wasn't a huge event. There were like only 6 to 12 people max. But when the tournament started, my first match was against the defending champion from the last tournament. So yeah. You can probably guess how that went. But even after the tournament ended, we kept playing. Just casual matches with the other players. We were sharing tech and giving each other tips. You could feel the passion in that room. Everyone there loved the game just as much as I did. I learned so much from that tournament experience. So from there, I started branching out. I connected with different fighting game communities tied to the games I was playing at the time. Eventually, I got the chance to join my first major tournament, Rev Major 2022. Think of it like a smaller scale EVO. And if EVO is the Super Bowl of fighting games, then Rev Major is one of the biggest stages in my region. I finally met so many people in person. People I had only ever known through screen names, character pics, and Discord messages. Seeing the faces behind the players, the characters, it was really wholesome. So I entered both DNF and Tekken 7 bracket. Funny story though, I got disqualified for my Tekken 7 match because I was grabbing food when they were calling my name. Anyway, in DNF duel, I went up against a strong ranger player from Japan. And yep, I got absolutely bodied again. Before going into this match, I was so excited. And I thought to myself, I was unstoppable. But that match just reminded me just how deep the skill ceiling goes. It was humbling, but it pushed me to get even better at the game. Oh, by the way, I also got to picture with my goats. After the event ended, I hung out with the community I'd grown close to. We had dinner, shared stories, laughed. It was fun. Definitely a core memory. Something I'll carry with me forever. So after that, the next year, I also attended Rev Major 2023. It was really fun. I had a good time. As for 2024 though, I wasn't able to make it to any offline tournaments this time around. But I did get to compete in my first Tekken 8 online tournament, which was pretty fun.
Break. Oh my god.
There you go. Crazy.
4 gold letters. Asha, 4 gold letters. Yeah.
Bends it, goes to the Oki. Kansu's in big trouble.
Another one.
Do it. Poke after poke goes.
There it is again.
Golden letters, and Fox is on a tear. He's crazy.
Fox really channeled Jin's main protagonist powers right there with that set. He just
Let's see
went on a tear, as you said. Floor! Words in RE. Does not get relaunched at least. Oh dear. His back gets absorbed. Oh, up for two. Dive kick.
Dude, the momentum
Goes for
is
it.
on side. This is his round for
There we
unless
go.
Konso has anything to say about this.
Konso is
Powerbomb,
pressing buttons
half
now.
health. Fox, he needs to close this one out.
Oh, dear.
DP, Konso gets hit again, but he drops the combo. That might have been a misinput. He still gets the DP anyway.
Another one. If he
Fox,
cashes
he
out
takes
here,
it.
Konso may be dead.
There
He
it
should
is.
be.
One more.
There it is.
There you go. 3 rounds straight for Fox, ladies and gentlemen, against Konso, sent to the losers bracket. What a match.
There's something about the fighting game community that just hits different. It's one of the most passionate and tight-knit spaces I've ever been a part of. But of course, like any other community, it's not perfect. There are always a few bad apples. But that doesn't mean you won't find a place where you belong. Whether it's at locals, online tournaments, or just hanging out at Discord servers. There's probably a group out there that shares the same love for these games just as much as you do. So after all the struggles, the frustrations, the losses, why do I keep coming back? Let me give you a recent example. When Street Fighter 6 was coming out, I was lucky enough to get a review copy of the game. That meant I get to play it before the general public. You'd think that early access would give me a big head start, right? But here's the catch. Street Fighter 6 was actually my very first Street Fighter game, like ever. I had no idea how the mechanics really work. Sure, I'd seen clips of previous games and had a rough idea on what to expect, but I didn't understand the game like I did with Tekken. And yet, I kept playing. Especially since modern fighting games are more welcoming than ever. The game's tutorial didn't just throw me in the deep end. It actually taught me the fundamentals of the game, like spacing, punishing, resource management, all that. So I put in the time, learned how to actually play the game, and before I knew it, I was climbing the ranks. 7 months later, I hit the highest rank in the game, Master Rank. That had never happened to me before. Not in any competitive game. Not even in Tekken, my main fighting game series I've been playing for years. What makes it worth it for me is I saw myself grow. I adapted, learned new combos and tech, figured out what works and what didn't. And that feeling of seeing your own progress, of pushing past your limits, that's what keeps me coming back. It's one of the best feelings when you see yourself grow. And I think this doesn't just apply in video games, right? Okay, here's another one. Take Marvel Rivals, for example. When you lose to a game here, it could be for 100 different reasons. Maybe your teammates didn't pull their weight. Maybe the team coordination just wasn't there. Or worse, someone went AFK, and suddenly it feels like the game is unwinnable. But in fighting games, there's only ever one reason you lost. You got outplayed by your opponent. So maybe you dropped your combo. Maybe you didn't know the matchup at the time and your opponent was spamming a move you didn't know how to deal with.
No, you're using a cheat move. You're cheating.
You're gonna learn! This is the real world! You learn it early, son!
Or maybe you don't know how to get out of King's chain grab, which could lead to frustrating moments like this.
Shit! Shit!
Whatever it is, that loss is yours. No teammates to blame, no distractions, just you and your opponent both playing the same game, both given the same tools to an extent. The only difference is how well you use those tools at your disposal. And yeah, it hurts. It can be discouraging at first because at that moment, you didn't have what it takes to beat your opponent. But remember, it was at that moment, which means you can get better. And that's what makes it worth it. There's a different feeling when the win is all yours. And the loss, that's on you too. And I think that's when you start to grow. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, fighting games can be tough. They're one of the most rewarding genres out there, but also one of the most misunderstood. You'll hear stuff like fighting games are too hard, or you have to do all these crazy motion inputs just to play the game. But most people can learn how to do motion inputs like throw a quarter circle fireball in a couple of minutes. If this dog can do it, then so can you.
Holy shit!
It's just like how you would learn how to play a different game and understand its controls for the first time. The barrier isn't as high as it seems. Yeah, there are execution barriers, but that's the thing. You choose your game. You pick your character. Some are built to be beginner friendly. Others are for wild, technical combo monsters. You can go as deep as you want, and it's only as hard as you want to make it. And now more than ever, modern fighting games are making huge strides in accessibility. Games like Street Fighter 6 have modern controls that lets you do special moves in just the press of a button. Execution barriers are there if you want them to be, and you don't have to be a lab monster to have fun. Fighting games aren't about mastering everything at once. They're about taking that first step. Pick a game that catches your eye. Maybe pick a character that looks cool. You decide how deep you want to go. And that's the beauty of it. Fighting games can be as simple or as complex as you make them. You don't have to dive straight into the advanced mechanics of the game. Just learn a few moves, see what your character can do. The depth of fighting games are there when you're ready for it. And maybe you're thinking, yeah, but I'm not good at games like this, or they're too hard, or I'm just a casual player and I probably won't get something out of this. That's a valid fear, but let me show you this clip.
Fighting games are not inherently difficult. There's actually a really good video by Core Gaming based on this idea alone. But in general, the idea of that video is that, yeah, fighting games don't always tell you how to win, and they could probably do with better tutorials, but the games themselves aren't really that hard if you actually try and you know what to do. And yeah, knowing what to do is the problem. In most fighting games that have really long combo strings, those players are just alternating between 3 buttons. What's important is how you use these buttons, in what combination and in what order. And yes, I can understand how that could be daunting. And if you think that you inherently just can't do it, that you personally lack the ability to learn these games, okay, well guess what? This dude can't even use his hands. He plays with his mouth, and he's a pro player, and he's really fucking good.
Hey, I can't hit this combo, or maybe I have problems, playing on the right side or left side. I always tell him, hey, if I could do it, man, you can do it.
Now that I think about it, I've tried to convince so many of my friends to play fighting games with me. Probably more times than I could count. And for most of them, it just didn't click. It was like a fart in the wind. A few did give it a shot, but they didn't dive into it like I did. And yeah, it used to sting a little. I'd think, man, you don't see how sick this genre is. But over time, I've come to realize that that's totally okay. Not everything clicks with everyone. Take Souls-like games, for example. Not for me. Trust me, I've tried. I've booted them up, pushed through countless deaths, and looked through tons of builds. I tried to find a spark, but I just couldn't get into it. Every time I get beaten by a boss, it's just... You know what? I'll just show you this clip to show you how I feel whenever I get bodied by a boss.
Fucking dickhole! Fucking asshole! Face! Fucking mother... asshole! Fucking asshole!
Or what the would your mom think?
So yeah, I didn't get the same feeling I get from fighting games. And that's fine. We all connect to different things. But if fighting games do click for you, you might find something you didn't know you were looking for. So even if you're the slightest bit fighting game curious, just give it a shot. There's probably a fighting game out there for you. Whether you want to go casual or competitive, there's a space for you. And who knows, you might fall in love with it just like I did. At first glance, fighting games can look like chaos. But the more you play, the more it all starts to make sense. The movement, the spacing, the decision making, it's all deliberate. It's all you. Every button you press, every adjustment you make, every round you win or lose, it's a reflection of your growth. And you'll definitely lose. Like, a lot. But you'll also learn. And when you finally start putting the pieces together, when you finally hit that combo you've been practicing, or when you snatch that win with a pixel of health left, that feeling is gonna stick with you. And when I think of a Magic Pixel comeback, there's one match that immediately comes to mind. If you've heard of Tekken 7, you've probably seen this. This clip is a match from the Mix-Up 2019, held in France, between Super Akuma and Chikurin. I'm going to skip the entire match analysis I wrote for this, and I'm just gonna dive straight into the part that I want to show you guys. So Super Akuma was able to secure the first set against Chikurin. So Chikurin went for a character switch and picked Jin. On the second round of the second set, Chikurin was able to land a solid counter hit, which led to a high damaging combo that put Super Akuma in a really tough spot. out. Shikurin continues to slowly chip away at Super Akuma's health, playing small Tekken, just small pokes to safely end the round, and just when it looks like Super Akuma is finished, his health is down to 1%, the magic pixel. There was one thing left in his favor, a full bar of meter. See, meters like this aren't common in Tekken, and only a handful of characters have them. It's a special resource that can enhance moves or extend combos in a way that's more common in traditional 2D fighting games. So when Super Akuma realized he had a full bar to work with, this happened.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, here we go. Why did you say that, Mark?
I want to see
Why did you say
parties,
that?
man.
Oh my god, look at the health.
And the
Look
demon,
at the life bar.
Let's go.
I can't believe what we're seeing here. Look at the life bar. Oh my goodness.
He probably has
This
a sliver,
is
right?
almost a
He
full
might
bar
have a sliver.
combo.
Oh my
What?
god.
Oh my
Let's
days.
go.
Oh, the comeback.
Fighting games are more than just flashy combos or those epic comebacks. They're about pushing yourself, overcoming your limits, and connecting with others who also share the same passion. So if you're still wondering whether you should try a fighting game, just choose a game that you think looks cool. Pick up a controller, find a character that speaks to you, someone that catches your eye, and just play. Because your fighting game journey, it doesn't have to start perfect. It just has to start. If you guys made it this far into the video, seriously, thank you. Thanks for hanging out and letting me yap and gush about fighting games for a bit. If this video found its way to you, maybe it's a sign, right? So I hope this video resonated to some of you, even just a little bit. And if you've got a story to share, or something I said hit home, or anything you want to say about this video really, just drop a comment. I'll be reading every single one. And by the way, if you guys are looking for a step-by-step video on how to actually get started in fighting games, like a real roadmap, I highly recommend checking out Polygon's video on it. It's super well put together and really gives you a solid foundation to start from. And it's also been my pinned tweet on X for what feels like forever now. You should also check out Core A Gaming, one of the best channels that gets deep into fighting games. Not just how to play, but the culture, the psychology, all of it. I'll link everything down in the description below. Oh, by the way, you can also follow me on my socials, X and Twitch. I don't stream as much these days, but you might catch me live every now and then. Anyways, I won't keep you here any longer, so I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye.